Is going on, guys? No time for a proper introduction. This is subscriber gameplay analysis with the one and only Grizzly. Right off the bat, something that sounds kind of familiar, probably cutting off hotspots. Gets a great nade right over B for that AB rush, and then moves his way around here. Moves his way around to kind of get this side cut off. Again, very smart before he goes back and caps the B flag. So there will be a couple points where there's a little bit of theater lag in here, but nothing too serious. So. I do think this right here is an interesting maneuver. He goes for this long AC route that people do occasionally flank. A lot of people forget about. They just think about that back alleyway he's looking towards now, and obviously that rush right up the center to B. So, very effective, just kind of being mindful, I guess, of those things. And he moves back up towards the center portion, towards the B area again. They're losing B, and I think this is kind of smart. He waits. This is what I was talking about, a little bit of theater lag there, but he waits to see what's going to happen before he moves in. Doesn't just blindly rush in. Gets a little dance around that guy, but just very smart. A lot of people tend to just kind of rush in there, and he probably could have had he flashed in there first, but it's again very just being smart about it and not making rash decisions. So this area that he's behind right now, he actually hangs out here for a little bit, which not really that big of an issue. I personally don't think it's, he's not sitting here camping really. It's early in the game, so you're going to have a very heavy push to the B flag still. You guys might notice this in your own games when you play. As the game goes on, people tend to be a little bit less aggressive on pushing the B. They'll go for sometimes the AC cap or whatever it is, the split cap, just to get the points because the B area is so heavily held down. So right kind of through here, he's kind of checking out. Team is starting to push up towards A, so he cuts back around this outside area again, and then moves up to get some position on the A flag. And I will say right here, you really need the attachment, triangle, or since it's on Xbox, hit the Y button if you don't. So he's got the suppressed weapon here, which obviously cuts down the effective range. Not saying that if you'd switched to his M4, he would have necessarily been picking people off. However, if you don't need the attachment, he's not running in through close quarters, trying to sneak behind enemy lines. So keeping that suppressor on isn't really doing him much good. That's not a benefit necessarily. If it were his only weapon, that was going to be effective at a medium to long range, that's another, it's a whole nother story. However, like I said, personally, I would have switched back to the M4. A little bit increased range. You're not losing range from that suppressor, and that's kind of that. So in through this area, kind of countering what I was just saying, keeping this suppressed weapon is smart in this case. He's moving through very close quarters, through all these buildings, tight alleyways. So, people tend to just stun check and throw nades like crazy as they're coming around corners. Keeping a suppressed weapon keeps him off the radar, makes it a lot easier for him to move through and, just kind of keep the battle going the way he wants it to go. So they've got kind of an interesting setup here. They have the 2 cap, or well, they just lost the 2 cap. But he's kind of watching this area. I'm not entirely sure why, if he was expecting people to kind of pour out that way. And he starts slowly working his way kind of around, and right here, very smart, runs inside from the stealth bomber. So I don't know if a lot of people just have their game sound turned down or what it is, but way too many people get taken out by those things when they could very easily get some cover and survive. So through here, this is kind of an unfortunate death right here. The guy that he was initially shooting at he's got his thermal suppressor on, and he just kind of whips around, quickly locks in on Grizzly and picks him off. So unfortunate that there, not much you can do about that. Shaking his screen there in disgust. He swaps out his FMGs here, yeah, right there, for an MK14, for a suppressed MK14. So normally I would, normally I encourage swapping out your secondary if it's not as effective for another primary that you've come across. However, on a map like this, in a situation like this, I would have actually kept the FMGs. You'll notice he's staying a lot around this B area, these tight quarters. Keeping those FMGs will definitely serve him better. Would have served him better than swapping to the MK14. This is not such a wide or long map where the assault rifle wouldn't have been able to effectively take care of those medium to long range engagements that he might find himself in. So again, personal preference, as his teammate kind of robs him of the double right there, but at least he survives, runs up and gets the cap. So only kind of small thing here, I probably would have been watching towards the A route, mostly because your team got a pretty heavy team presence behind you for the C flag. They're just kind of being mindful of that Osprey up there. So again, right through here, he's kind of playing it, waiting it out to see where things are going to come from. And again, I think that's smart. He's not just making these rash decisions. He does unfortunately kind of get some crap deaths, kind of like that one, the one earlier with the thermal sight, just getting panic knifed by a guy right around the corner. So not much you can really do about that. But it it happens to the best of us. So they're losing B right here again. He comes around the corner, he's being smart, he's being careful. He's not just running in to cap these flags without knowing that the area's clear and that he's going to be good to go when he comes in. So overall, I will say, I'll just say this now. I think he's been doing a very effective job this entire game, making smart plays, moving around the map right, reading spawns and everything correctly. For example, right through here, he starts moving back. Again, kind of an unfortunate death. Didn't even an unfortunate death getting picked off by this guy around the corner. But sometimes, like I said, there's not much you can always do about it. So right here, this is great nade. I call it, kind of your own smart bomb. But they're losing the B flag, and he throws that right behind basically right behind that building that brushes up against along up against B, and basically predicting where that guy's going to go. That unfortunately, I do say the FMGs were the smart choice there. FMGs, if you guys didn't know, can actually take out a Juggernaut very, very quickly. However, I probably would have flashed and then run up that side staircase, but would have had a lot better chances of getting some damage on the Juggernaut or picking him off. Juggernauts do show up on the mini-map, so you know where he's at. It's not really a guessing game, and it probably would have been a little bit more successful. Or, worst case scenario, the other option is just getting out of there. Juggernauts, you don't have to take them out. And that guy was kind of just hanging back there on the C flag anyhow, so not really a huge issue or a huge loss there, but picks that guy off. And this, very smart, comes around. He saw that guy initially on the minimap when he called up his UAV. Through the blindness of that recon drone, picks up the other guy with a nice little drop shot. So, again, just playing very smart, and yeah, so calls in, gets Predator in, and they've got the triple cap going right now, which is kind of it's just kind of unfortunate, but the game's kind of coming to the end anyway, so it's not really like they're early or partway through the game, and triple cap could really easily screw them up. They push up here, and they push up to finish up the game, which, I mean, like I said, at this point, they're going to win the game unless something goes horribly wrong. Switches to the FMGs, and this is what I was talking about earlier with the MK. Having the assault for that medium to long range, having your FMGs for kind of these close quarters when you're pushing up in the enemy spawn, and that kind of just spray and pray fire method that these guns come with is definitely smart. Another smart play is actually calling that UAV. Gives you points, but also he's really deep into the enemy spawn, gives him an idea of where things are at, so he's not picking up an unnecessary death rate at the end. Gets a nice little drop shot on that guy. So that actually wraps up the game. He's going to have a nice little final kill cam. Obviously, I want to thank one and only Grizzly for sending in this gameplay. Like I said, played a very effective, very smart game, so not a whole lot to say. Last thing I got, this is Quanger signing out. Peace, guys.